I think many people in this country don't realize the magnitude of the problem. The engineering is sound, the technology is proven. What's preventing the globe from aggressively solving the problem? Vibhu, good afternoon. Great to see you.
Afternoon, good to see you.
Thanks for taking some time to talk with us today. We're going to talk a little bit about the InnoVent Renewables business and how things are going. I know we've known each other quite a long time, running in the same circles in the petrochemical industry for quite a while, a few decades.
Yeah.
Before we start into that, you've got an amazing family story, family history. You've got a very decorated family. So what's a night at the dinner table in the Sharma family like with this pursuit of excellence seems to be the norm and the standard?
Well, I'm the least qualified guy at the table because there's a Professor Sharma, which is my dad. My wife's a professor too. She's a distinguished professor, so she's Professor Sharma. And I'm the only one who didn't make it to a PhD, which was not my cup of tea. Growing up, I was surrounded by entrepreneurs, and that kind of gave me the bug of starting something of my own. So I started my own company with my partner, built it up, ran it for 15 years, and sold it in 2016 to a European engineering company. Stayed with them for a while and then sort of retired after exiting. And so that didn't sit well with my dad, who was like, well, you're in your 40s, you can't retire. Go do something useful. And then my wife was like, okay, get out of the house. So you don't need to retire. So we came up with a fun joke is, why don't you retire? Which is where the whole tire story sort of came about, and we can talk more about that.
I know you have a son that's pursuing an aerospace engineering degree, which is near and dear to me at Texas A&M, and he's also a pilot. And I've got a son that's a pilot. So
that is correct. Yes. So he actually was inspired by your son Kyle, and is pursuing the same path. He's a freshman at Texas A&M and pursuing aerospace engineering, and he's a licensed pilot already. So next time we're flying to our Mexico facility, we can probably have him charter a plane and fly us there. My youngest one is a high school sophomore and a very talented pianist. But these were two areas that my dad wanted me or my kids to pursue, and they're kind of following that path. So
yeah, and I know you do it with your family. I know my wife and I do it with our kids, that just pursue your passion, and everything else that you want from your life and your career will follow. And it's something we actually talk a lot about at Pyxis with our team is follow your passion. You know, we don't have necessarily a set playbook or set of frameworks that this is the way you have to do it and this is what you do. If you see an idea, let's incubate a business around it, and perhaps there's an opportunity for that. So, but again, follow your passion and your interest.
No, that's a great point. I mean, I did that, my wife did that, my dad did that, and we all made something out of it. So that's critical to us, and that's what we teach our boys is that, well, just make sure you have, you can earn enough off of it to live a comfortable life, but definitely follow your passion, because everything else is forced. If it's your passion, it doesn't feel like hard work, you enjoy it.
So we've come a long way since you reached out to us, three and a half years ago.
Yeah.
And we started having the bi-weekly lunches in the Rice Village,
right
here in Houston.
Yeah.
You had, I remember, quite a long list of ideas.
Yeah.
There's no shortage of ideas in Vibhu's head. I know we talked about the lemon citrus peel opportunity. How did you leverage us to help you come down to the idea that became InnoVent Renewables?
There was this thing about what do you want to do next that can have an impact. And I kind of wanted to do something in the sustainability space in a way to pay for my sins in oil and gas for 20 years, to do something good that would leave a lasting impact. We then broke it down to 2 or 3 different ideas, and where Pyxis was great is to filter those down into what will actually have a game-changing impact, what could grow, what could be a global business opportunity, not just in selected areas. But the more we talked with you and the Pyxis team, the more it became obvious that dealing with tires was a huge global problem and a huge scalable opportunity, and that's something that we should hone in on.
Pyrolysis, the technology, as you've said many times, is not new. It's been around for a long time. And there's other players out there using it to produce chemicals, aviation fuels, et cetera. What are you doing? What do you think InnoVent Renewables has been doing to be successful where others have failed in this path?
So pyrolysis as a concept is being in use for a few decades now, but not a whole lot of focus had been put on dealing with tires using that technique. And so we put in a lot of effort on the simulation and modeling side of it to make sure that it's actually going to work when you scale it up. And then that's kind of where we hit a fork in the road, and that's where we approached Pyxis about, well, how do we go from here, right? So we applied all of our chemical engineering expertise, our modeling and simulation expertise, to look at not just being something where we break down the tire and sell it as a crumb or a chip, but we actually looked at it where the tire and all the outputs from it were not waste streams, but byproducts. And so we approached it from how can we put steps in place so that we get high value, sellable products out of all of these.
To talk a little bit about where the growth opportunities that you're pursuing now.
Monterey was an interesting pick for us. We already had an engineering office there, so we had some people on the ground that were locals and familiar with the city. But the more time I spent there, we discovered that it happened to have an inventory of over 25 million end-of-life tires. What was unique about Monterey is that we actually get paid to get rid of the tires. So that's a negative cost factor for us. Good to find labor, it's good to find facilities that you can set up an operation and get going. So we took a concept which was during our lunch breaks in the Rice Village and converted it to a commercial operating plan. It's working consistently, it's producing high quality product, and that's endorsed by the fact that major Fortune 500 companies, global companies in the auto and oil and gas industries are buying our product right now. Then we started looking bigger from a global perspective that, okay, we've done this in Monterey, could this be done somewhere else? So that's when we partnered with a company called Lummus Technology, and Lummus was very responsive, loved the idea, came over to see what we had done and loved what they saw, so much so that they invested in the company because they believe in the potential. And now our exclusive partnership with them allows them to go global with what we have built. And I think Pyxis had a big role to play in us getting there this quickly and this effectively.
We've got a global problem with waste tires.
Yeah.
We've had a number of jurisdictions globally reach out to us about expansion opportunities into various regions. The engineering is sound, the technology is proven. What's preventing the globe from aggressively solving the problem?
Access to good technology is one thing. We need to spread the word about, hey, there exists a technology and a system and a facility that you can deploy. This needs support from local, state, and federal level at some point where you want to tackle that problem and not just dump it in a landfill and forget about it. But it's getting to a stage where in developing countries and in Middle East, there are more tires than they can store. And the fact is that we have a technology that we have proven that can be deployed globally. And we have a partner like Lummus that can make it happen globally, right? Most of the existing operations in place or companies that have tried it and failed many times is because they ran batch operation. That's like cooking rice or pasta in a cooker, right? Each time you have to heat it up and cool it down, and you can only do so much, and it's very high energy consumption. We came in with a continuous technology where all the energy is recovered back into the operation. It's net zero, and every single molecule is accounted for because 96% of it is recovered into valuable products.
Yeah, and I think it was amazing to us as we learned more about the opportunity several years back that I think many people in this country don't realize the magnitude of the problem. So if you go in and get a new set of tires on your car, you pay a disposal fee.
Exactly.
Well, those tires get put on a flatbed trailer and wind up in a landfill in northern Mexico. And it's not just a Nuevo Leon, Monterey issue, but every state in northern Mexico has a similar landfill issue.
Exactly. We are actually getting a big push from northern Mexico states that want to fund setting up these plants themselves because over the past 2 decades, they ended up collecting waste tires from different places, mostly North America, to the tune of 20, 30, 40 million tires. And they just don't have the place to keep it. And now it's creating all kinds of public health nightmares for them. We actually got a call from one of the nearby cities that desperately wanted to get rid of 1,000 tires. And they're like, we'll pay you for it, come pick it up. And our point was we need 1 million tires because that's what our facility is handling.
You've embedded creativity and flexibility in your value chain, right?
Yeah.
And we've been talking recently about the opportunity just to take the rubber crumb from shredding the tire and putting it back into asphalt manufacturing for roads, playgrounds, high demand for that. But you've got optionality with even with the fuel and swinging that in as a bio-blend stock for refiners that have to meet their bio mandates, right? So you may talk a little about the importance of having some flexibility in your value chain.
When we started this whole facility, we were thinking that all the crumb or chips would go into as an input to our reactor system and then be used for making oil and other products. We are in a situation where all of our products in so much demand that we would have to grow 20-fold just to meet current demand, forget about future demand. Each product outlet, we wanted to have multiple places it could go, so we are not dependent on just that particular industry or space. And more importantly, we are not dependent on any subsidies. One problem with renewable energy projects is that they are so heavily dependent on government providing that subsidy, and when that subsidy gets pulled, the business dies. We wanted negative cost. Who doesn't love that, where you get paid to collect your feed? And then all of our products should have multiple outlets. The oil can go for marine, the oil can be blended with diesel generators that can ultimately be used for data centers, it can be blended with diesel fuel, it can be sent to a refinery. Everything has multiple places to be.
As a many times successful entrepreneur, what have you learned with this InnoVent Renewables journey to this point? And would you have done anything differently?
The first company was a lot of trial and error, where didn't really know where we were going or what we were doing. And so we spent a lot of time getting distracted or getting pulled in different directions that we shouldn't have. So that was one lesson learned, which is, focus on the end goal. There was a lot of opportunity for us to work on plastic pyrolysis, on biomass pyrolysis, but we didn't want to get distracted into any of that because the tire problem itself was big enough. We also wanted to bring in the best possible team around us, right from the word go. We brought in Pyxis right out of the gate because we didn't want to spend many years trying to figure this out on our own by trial and error. We wanted to get to the destination quickly. And we put in a lot of effort, again, with help from Pyxis, to put together what I think is a phenomenal board of advisors that is always available to guide us what to do and, more importantly, what not to do. Be very careful with cash. So we've been operating very frugally because cash is king, and a lot of companies got into trouble because they took on a huge amount of debt to build their facilities. And right now we carry no debt, so we're in a very strong financial position to be able to make moves and get things done.
I've learned a lot since on this journey. I don't know that we've talked about it much, but our work supporting you in InnoVent Renewables was really the launching pad for us to create what we call Pyxis Ventures.
Yeah.
So we've now been supporting a range of other founder-led startups and a range of manufacturing renewables, even on the technology side.
Great.
What advice would you give us in terms of how we better help you and other founders with ventures and startup and early stage growth?
Many of these companies, such as ours when we started it, don't really have an executive team put together. So having access to, whether it's fractional or whether it's in the form of a partnership with Pyxis, giving that trusted access and focusing on your core strengths, which are technology driven, which are oil and gas, commodity industry driven, as opposed to getting into 10 different areas which may or may not be your core strength, and to execute with speed. I think which you guys are growing tremendously fast as well. So I think the speed part you've got covered. There's room in the big four for another player to come in, and hopefully Pyxis gets there. Yeah.
We hope so too. We focused on doing the good work. So we have thoroughly enjoyed the journey to this point. I know we've got a lot of excitement around the growth and where InnoVent Renewables is headed. We're even supporting on some of your other ventures around InnoVent Technology and InnoSim. So I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Again, thank you for your time. And
thank you. Pleasure being here. Great.